Shame this isn't tequila after United last night. Shame this isn't tequila. Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope everyone's having a good Friday evening. Hope everyone's looking forward to the rest of their evening, and I hope everyone's looking forward to this brand new weekend in April 2023 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, that is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. And then to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to put that notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, FIFA 23 Career Mode, Football Manager, the new F1 game, more previews and more match reactions planned for the rest of this year in 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. And good evening to all of you amazing and legendary people. And welcome to the preview, the Premier League preview between Nottingham Forest and Manchester United for Sunday evening's game. On Sunday, the 16th of April 2023, which is live on the Sky Sports main event, Sky Sports Premier League channel, 4:30 evening away kickoff on match day 32 for Manchester United Football Club in the Premier League season, with only now, Man United have got only 8 games left for this Premier League season because we've still got games in hand over all of our rivals. And how Manchester United win this game at the weekend is going to be interesting. I mean, very, very interesting how this game is going to be planned out for Man United, how we are going to be able to take the game to Nottingham Forest, how we are going to be able to go away to the City Ground for the first time in years and go and get 3 points to keep top 4 in Champions League football alive for next season. It's going to be interesting to see how this team gets on with the massive injury crisis this team is currently facing. Manchester United are in crisis. The club, the team, the manager, the squad and the players are in crisis. The injury worries and concerns are getting worse at this football club. The amount of suspensions and injury problems these players are picking up are continuing to happen. And with the squad already depleted for the Sunday's evening's away game, I don't see how Man United are going to be able to pick up points in the next few Premier League games because we've got no squad. There is no squad depth. The quality is lacking and the options are dwindling very, very quickly because with the injuries to Lisandro Martinez, Rafael Varane, Marcus Rashford, Scott McTominay, Luke Shaw, Tom Heaton, Donny van der Beek, Alejandro Garnacho, we've basically got 9 first-team players out of Sunday's evening's away game against Nottingham Forest. And I think Man United are going to face a massive uphill task of trying to get a win on Sunday because that squad's already on its knees. The fatigue and the injuries are mounting up, and Ten Hag is left with a squad that has hardly got any players available for. And I sympathise for the manager that, you know, this Premier League, the FA and the Football League are a massive disgrace. Playing 3 games in 6 days is a joke. We shouldn't have to be playing so many games back to back in so fewer lesser days. And I feel sympathy with Eric Ten Hag because a lot of fingers are being massively unfairly pointed at him last night. A lot of unfair criticism is headed towards the manager. And yet again, it sums up this fan base. It sums up these supporters that they are never, ever satisfied. And I think a lot of the blame has to be put on those bottle job players yesterday. They did down tools, they let the manager down, and they threw away a comfortable win. A game that they should have won, a game that they should have buried Sevilla, basically. And still the fingers are being pointed at Eric Ten Hag for his substitutions, the quality of football, and the players he's got available. And I don't know what this fan base is expecting Eric Ten Hag to do. He isn't Merlin, he isn't Sooty, and he's not a magician. He isn't the dark magician from Yugi's deck from Yu-Gi-Oh! He's a manager of this football club trying to get by with the crap squad he's got and the amount of injuries this squad and this team has currently got. And I don't think pointing the finger at Eric Ten Hag is the right thing to do. He's overachieved massively with this club in season 1, but I wouldn't go and point the finger blaming him for last night's result. It wasn't his fault. His tactics and the substitutions, he had no choice but to make them due to the yellow cards for Anthony and Bruno Fernandes, with a threatening of being both sent off for the second leg away game for next week against Sevilla. I think people are still pinpointing that Eric Ten Hag was to blame for the result last night. And I think get your head out your ass, open your eyes and realise that that squad's on its knees. The injuries are getting worse and that team has got no quality. There is no squad depth. There is no quality in the rest of that team. And I don't know how this team is expecting to get by till May. It's a very, very unfair season. I feel like a lot of unfair criticism has been put on Ten Hag from last night, but I wouldn't blame him for a squad that he's not got. It's not his fault he's having to work with a deadwood squad that's not been improved since the January transfer window, and especially in that summer transfer window in 2022. People say he got back in, he got investment and money was spent well on that squad. I completely and utterly disagree with you. I feel like not enough money has been spent on this squad in the last two transfer windows. January was a joke. The summer was even worse. And people saying, well, we still got backed. He still got delivered players that he needed, and Man United still got over the line. Well, if you're looking at the squad now and you look at the players unavailable, I don't see how Man United could be able to even put a team out in the next few games, because the more injuries mount up, the less squad depth we've got, and the players we haven't got available, we have got no backup for. And I feel like Man United are going to face difficult questions being asked of them on Sunday, and then you still got to play the likes of Brighton in the FA Cup, Tottenham, Chelsea, Villa, Bournemouth, Wolves, Brighton in the league as well, and West Ham away. And fingers are still being pointed at Erik ten Hag is to blame for this mess that he's got this squad into. He's been overusing so many of the first team players. Well, I don't think that's the manager's fault. He's having to pick his best team week in, week out, because he realises half the crap that exists in that dressing room, in that team, and in that squad is simply not up to the standards that he requires. He is expecting quality fucking footballers. And unfortunately, when you've got so many players at that football club who live up their ego's own ass, that club gets useless every single summer. And those players have been useless in the last few games. They have simply not been good enough. And it showed last night. But that is down to those players' egos ruining the form of the team. And unfortunately, when you've got players like that still being given a chance under this manager, it's not very fair on the fans and supporters, because we have to live and witness the emotions of a Man United game that they should have won last night. And we simply have to win on Sunday. We have to go to Nottingham Forest. We have to get the win. We have to get the 3 points. I'm just struggling to pinpoint how this team is going to be able to come out on top, because, I mean, you look at the players unavailable. We've got no backup for any of those players, and I don't see how Man United can get to the end of May with the injuries we've got, because you're still in Europa League You've still got the FA Cup semi-final to play. We're still fighting for top 4 and Champions League football for next season. And basically, we're going to have to go till May with the current squad we've got, because we can't spend any money. There are no players available on the free transfer except 2 ex-Real Madrid players, and that is basically about it. And we're expected to get by with the squad we've got, and I think the squad depth on that bench is shocking. The substitutions last night were a joke, but that's not Erik ten Hag's fault. It's basically what he's got to work with, and you can't pinpoint that Ten Hag was to blame for that. It's basically what he's got at his disposal, and I think people can't expect Erik ten Hag to rip up trees and start performing magic tricks in that squad when it's simply not available to him. And the more it carries on, this Man United season is going to derail very, very quickly. And I think if we don't win on Sunday, top 4 will be gone. Champions League football will be gone next season. And I think away against Nottingham Forest, I think it's going to be a very, very tough game for Manchester United, because Nottingham Forest, like I said, are fighting for their lives. They're fighting to stay in the Premier League next season. And I think a lot of unfair criticism has gone to Steve Cooper as Nottingham Forest manager. I don't believe all the unfair criticism he's been given is justified. I think, in my opinion, Nottingham Forest have done very well back in the Premier League in their first season. Yes, they're struggling to stay up, and yes, they're fighting relegation. But at the end of the day, they're doing a lot better than some of those top clubs this season, and they're absolutely producing results no one expected. And I think giving Steve Cooper unfair criticism is unfair, because I think he's doing a very good job at Nottingham Forest. He's got a very good team. He's got a very good set of players. And I do feel like Nottingham Forest are producing results that the fans expect. And I feel like they will stay up in the Premier League. I can't see Nottingham Forest getting relegated. And I feel like, they are going to be up for this game on Sunday. They are going to look at that injury crisis United, and they're going to realise that Man United are there for the taking, because United haven't got the backups in every area of the pitch. And it's completely true that we haven't got the backups to Sandro Martinez. We haven't got the backup to Varane. We don't have the backups to Rashford. We don't have the backup to McTominay. We don't have the backup to Luke Shaw. We simply do not have the squad depth available at the moment to compete with the other teams in this league. And it goes to show that last night's result really affected momentum at Man United. And I think, that result last night has dented the players' confidence. The morale's going to be on the floor. The confidence is going to be gone. But, United have got to pick themselves up now, because it's a massive league game coming up against a team that, want to stay up in the Premier League for next season. Staying in the Premier League for 2 years is an accomplishment I think Nottingham Forest will achieve. I can't see them getting relegated. I think they'll be fine in the Premier League otherwise. But, United know that the task is there to go and win and get the 3 points. Another damaging result like this at the weekend is only going to damage the momentum this squad is starting to build. But those players really need to start stepping up to the plate. And some of those fringe players now, unfortunately, yet again, are going to be given a chance in a Man United shirt to perform at Man United. They're going to be given yet again another chance under Eric Ten Hag to show that they've got what it takes to be a Man United footballer. But at the end of the day, some of those players that played yesterday really let this side down. They let down the fans, they let down the supporters, and basically they let down yet again another manager, just like they did with David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Ralph Rangnick, and the list is going to keep on growing. I think Ten Hag eventually will realise, you know what, this job is too big than what they're expecting. We still haven't got new owners. Our summer transfer window plans are up in the weeds. And unfortunately, I don't see any comeback from this Man United side at the moment because, you know, the quality is not there on and off the pitch to be able to produce a back-to-back winning results in the league. And I think, you know, if we can make it a third league win in a row, it would put momentum towards keeping top four. It will keep momentum towards competing in the Champions League next season. We have to get top four. We can't really sacrifice and be in Europa League again next season. Nobody wants that, or even worse, being stuck in UEFA Europa Conference League. I wouldn't want that either because it would be a massive car crash if this season was to collapse in the next few weeks. And I think it will. I think personally, you know, the injuries we've got and the fatigue and the suspensions we've also got, this situation at Man United, in my opinion, is only going to get worse. I don't see any comeback. I don't see any momentum going to be on our side. And I feel like, you know, those players realise now that maybe they've been found out, maybe the manager's been found out, and maybe that team is basically on its knees now. And if we don't win on Sunday, it wouldn't surprise me because, you know, I think some of those fringe players who will be given an opportunity to play on Sunday will make a lot of the same errors, a lot of the same mistakes. But unfortunately, Ten Hag really shouldn't have to be using any of that fringe deadwood players that he's got at that club. Players like Scott McTominay and Fred and Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Diego Dalot, Anthony Elanga, their course, they really should not be in a Man United shirt. Half those players really should not be playing for Manchester United Football Club. And unfortunately, that is not the level that I think we expect. Man United should really be aiming for better. And really, we should have better players than what we've got at the moment because, you know, without Varane and Martinez, I worry about what that defence is going to be able to cope with because, you know, we have basically gone back to the defence, what we saw under Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We have gone back to Lindelof and Maguire all over again. We've basically gone back to Magaluf. And unfortunately, this history is going to repeat itself. It's like when Harry Potter realised that the Chamber of Secrets had been opened for a second time and history repeated itself. And this is exactly what's happening all over again. It's the circle of life at Man United that history is repeating itself. The same old errors, the same old mistakes and the same old crap is continuing to come in and out of the surface at Manchester United Football Club, especially out of Old Trafford. And you know what? Man United are going to try and PR spin this injury crisis into a positive on Sunday. And they know that, you know, another Premier League draw or defeat is simply not good enough. And you don't go and lose to teams like Nottingham Forest because I feel like, you know, they are comparing both squads. Nottingham Forest have got players that can deliver a threat. You've got Emmanuel Dennis, Jesse Lingard, Brendan Johnson, Chris Wood, John Joe Shelby, Keylor Navas in goal. Nottingham Forest have not got a bad team. They have got a very, very good bunch of players. And I think, you know, a lot of unfair criticism has been headed towards those Nottingham Forest players. I can't see all the crap and all the unjustified comments that Nottingham Forest team gets. I mean, I would take half those Nottingham Forest players in a heartbeat right now because we need the squad depth, we need the quality in our positions that we're lacking, and we need the goal scorers to be able to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think it showed yesterday we are basically relying on the midfield again to get the Man United goals in the net because we simply don't have the strike force, we don't have the attacking quality, and it showed against Sevilla yesterday. And I think, you know, if I'm Eric Ten Hag, I'd be deeply worried what team he's going to go with. But I think he's probably going to have to realise, look, Sandro Martinez ain't going to be there. Varane ain't going to be there. Luke Shaw, McTominay ain't going to be there. Rashford's not going to be there. And I think, you know, the more worse it gets, the more worse of a situation Man United are going to find themselves in the next few weeks. I mean, do we have to sacrifice the Europa League? Do we have to sacrifice the FA Cup? Or do we have to sacrifice top four and go for the Europa League win and hope we win the final and get back into the Champions League? I don't know what the message is clear at Man United. I don't see no clarification. I don't see no clear message of intent what the plan is from now. But United are going to have to come up with a solution very, very quickly. I mean, do you go and get players like James Rodriguez and Isco, ex-Real Madrid legend players, on free transfers to get this club by till the end of the season. Can Man United be able to do that? I'm not 100% sure that's the right thing to do, but I think squad depth is probably more important that we have it than what we don't, because I think, if James Rodriguez and Isco are both there available on free transfers, I think it's a must-buy situation that we're going to have to go and get them, give them 6-month loan deals to the end of the season, see what it does, and if they prove themselves United, give them a chance next season to be able to add some quality into that team on Sunday evening. We simply have to win this game. There's no excuses if we don't find this result against Nottingham Forest. I think time will tell that the City ground are going to be behind those Nottingham Forest players. They are going to become their 12th man. And I think, Nottingham Forest are going to smell fear. They're going to smell weakness, and they're going to smell controversy in that team very, very quickly. It will smell more than a bad fart. And I think, Nottingham Forest will be onto that Man United team very, very quickly. So because they're going to look at that midfield, they're going to look at that defence, and they're going to look at that attack. And they're going to realise that Man United have lost their 2 World Cup winning centre-backs that no other Premier League team's got. They are basically then stuck on relying on McTominay and Fred. And then you realise, and you look at that attack, Man United are then basically stuck with Weghorst, Elanga, Martial and Sancho to basically get Manchester United over the line. And that, for me, is not good enough. Man United, for me, have basically let this manager down heading into this weekend's game in the Premier League for match day 32. And I don't think it's fair. I think if Ten Hag would have been given money in January, I think he would have spent it well. He would have spent it sensibly. And I think, we would have had a few few new players in this team delivering the quality that is adding to the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle. I see in this Man United team, I see a lot of vulnerability. I see a lot of weakness, and I see a lot of non-spirits. I don't see any captains. I don't see any leadership in that team. And it showed yesterday. And I think if we don't have any leaders or leadership in that team on Sunday, then Nottingham Forest are going to deliver a hefty, bad result for United. And I think if we come away from the City ground, teams like Fulham, Brentford, Brighton, Spurs and Newcastle are going to pounce on us like a cat chasing a pigeon. And if we don't get top 4 this season, it's just a failure. I don't class the Carabao Cup as anything to go by. It's a cup trophy at the end of the day. It's a cup at the end of the day. But am I excited about it? Not really. The Carabao Cup's not the end all. At the end of the day, Man United really need to start putting their focus in towards bigger games and bigger results. And, I think the Premier League has to come first at the moment. And I think, if we don't beat Nottingham Forest, the criticism will be massively on Ten Hag to be able to deliver a response next Thursday in the Europa League against Sevilla for the second leg. And if we don't win our game after that, it wouldn't surprise me, because, I think the more injuries we get and the more fatigue we get and the more suspensions we get, this team will get worse. And I think the cracks will start appearing. And I think this season for me is already over without our 2 main centre-backs. And for me, in my opinion, losing Marcus Rashford at this time of the season was a big, big blow. We need Marcus Rashford back in that team ASAP. And I think, Ten Hag is going to have a hard, long conversation with half these injured players. And he's going to have to tell them, look, lads, I've already lost my main centre-back. The midfield's on its knees. The attack is on its knees. And I've got no other quality in those positions to cover you. And I think some of those players are really going to have to start playing through the pain barrier. And I think those players need to start realising that a lot of people suffer pain in life. I have a condition with my legs and my arms, and I still get on with it. I don't give up, and I'm a fighter. It doesn't mean I stop playing and I stop on my commitment in there. If I'm a Man United player, I had that condition, I would still go out there and play and give my 100% towards the team, towards the squad, towards the fans and the players and the manager. Injury or not, these players have got to realise that the pain barrier cannot be used as an excuse. They've got to get on with it, and they need to start putting in commitment if they really think their heart is in it to be a Manchester United player for the future. If you can play through the pain barrier, that says a lot about the commitment, the desire, and the heart from those Manchester United players. And I think, McTominay's going to have to be told, Luke Shaw, Marcus Rashford, Tom Heaton, Garnacho. I think if we can have those 5 available for this weekend, it will only deliver a massive boost of confidence towards this team, because if you look at that attack yesterday, we basically had no attack. Taking Anthony off yesterday was a massive, massive mistake, but that's not on there at Ten Hag. That is due to the yellow card Anthony did pick up for the confrontation he had with Acuna of the Sevilla left back. So I don't blame Eric Ten Hag for substituting Anthony, but when he realises Eric Ten Hag's having to look at that bench and he thinks to himself, well, the Weghorst signing's been a complete joke from day number 1. Elanga is never going to make it. Fred offers nothing. I mean, Lindelof, Maguire don't add no confidence to the squad either. So, this isn't Erik ten Hag's fault in a way. He's got to work with what he's got, and you can't pinpoint that Erik ten Hag is the problem. I think a lot of Man United fans don't realise they are pinpointing the problem at the wrong person. It's not the manager, it's these players he's got to work with. They're the one playing in the shirt, they're the one playing in his team, and they're the one letting down results. So I wouldn't pinpoint that Erik ten Hag is the main problem at this football club. It's not his fault he's got these players to work with. It's not his fault that this squad is on its knees. And it's not really his fault that, this is the situation at Man United that really does need to improve. The situation needs to start improving very, very quickly, and we need to find a really hard-fought win against Nottingham Forest. And we need to start the game well. We need to take the game to them. We need to start and be the better team. And if you can beat them 2-0 in the Carabao Cup away, and then you can beat them 3-0 in the reverse leg at home and win 5-0 in aggregate overall, there's no reason why not Man United can't go away to Nottingham Forest and win this game quite convincingly on the night. And I think, if we can get the early goal and then we can find the second and maybe kill them off with a third, then the job will be done. The 3 points will be in Man United's hands, and it'll be another step towards Champions League qualification. But Nottingham Forest players are going to see vulnerability in that United team because they realise that Man United team is not going to be the team they thought they would be predicting to play against, because they know Lisandro Martinez isn't there, Varane isn't there, and they're going to realise that they're vulnerable at Man United in several positions in that team. And it wouldn't surprise me if Nottingham Forest sneak a cheeky win or a late draw, because Man United are going to be dealt major threats in attack. And I think if Brennan Johnson's on his game, John Joe Shelby and Emmanuel Dennis, and even ex-United reject Jesse Lingard gets well on at the weekend, then Nottingham Forest will deliver an unlikely win that no one sees and no one predicts. But you never know what can happen with Man United. It's very up and down season with United. We did expect what we saw last night. I don't think no Man United fan in the world expected to see what went wrong, and it did go massively wrong. Let's all not beat around the bush. It did go wrong very, very quickly, and I think if it doesn't go well on Sunday and we don't win this game, then, Man United are in a very, very difficult position heading in towards the end of the season, because when you've still got Chelsea at home and then Spurs away, that is probably our biggest tests to go and win the rest of these games. And even Fulham at home and Brighton away, they're not going to be easy games. And I'm not saying this Nottingham Forest game is going to be easy. I give massive respect for the job Steve Cooper and his players and the squad are doing at Nottingham Forest this season. I think for me, they've been a great asset to the Premier League this season. They've offered a lot of a different quality vibe of attack than what other promoted teams have offered before. And I think, Nottingham Forest score the early goal. We've then got to find a response to find the equaliser, find the second, and then find the third goal that Man United then get. And I think we've got to do something on Sunday that's going to offer a different dimension of attack than what we saw yesterday. And the quality of midfield is going to have to be on show as well at the weekend. And then I think the defence is going to have to really start stepping up. But I think if we've got to make one key or two key changes to that team, that, that captain's armband has to come off Harry Maguire. He basically cost this team yesterday. He should have put the ball in his own net. And fans are saying, well, it wasn't Harry Maguire's fault. He did actually have a very good second half. And I think to myself, did anyone actually watch the Sevilla second half? Because Harry Maguire was at fault for the equaliser, and he was at fault for the lack of speed he's got. He's like a big turd. Basically, Harry Maguire is a bag of cement. He can't sprint, he can't run, and basically, if he's got a fast attacking player run at him, Harry Maguire is nowhere near it. And I think, he ain't no leader, he ain't no captain, he ain't no role model, he ain't no leader of that team. And it thinks to myself, why is that armband not being kept on Bruno Fernandes? Bruno Fernandes has no right giving that captain's armband back to Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire does not deserve to be Man United captain. And if I'm the manager of this football club, I am taking that armband off and putting it on Fernandes' shoulder, because there is the leader in that team. There is the role model. There is the inspiration. There is the guy that offers leadership in that team. And if you saw the game in the second half yesterday, as soon as Fernandes brought off, the whole team collapsed. There was no leadership. There was no commitment there. There was no desire from that team to get behind the captain's decisions that could affect the game and pinpoint the right passes and the right shots to make in the right space at the right time. And Man United paid the price. We paid the price badly yesterday, and we deserve what we got. We were a shambles in that second half. And I think if we play that second half the way we did against Sevilla, against Nottingham Forest, the same impact, the same result will happen at the weekend. And it wouldn't surprise me if Man United suffer defeat, because we simply do not have what we need available. And I think, the Premier League, the FA and the Football League are a massive, massive disgrace this season. I think the VAR and the refereeing has become a joke as well. And I think the Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League has to be played on the same night. Really, Europa League and Europa Conference League should not be on a Thursday night. Otherwise, they should move the Premier League games to midweek instead of the weekend and play the European games at the weekend instead. Maybe that is what it should be, but I think for Ten Hag, you can start seeing the frustration. You can start seeing the anger and the disappointment that, he's lost most of his key first-team players, and you've seen it in his press conferences. You're seeing it in the reactions and his face expressions. You are seeing a frustrated figure, just like Jose Mourinho, just like Louis van Gaal, Ralph Rangnick. You can start seeing the cracks are appearing, and I think if Ten Hag walked away at Man United at the end of the season after this one season in charge, I would applaud Eric Ten Hag out of Old Trafford. I'd be like, thanks for what you've done. It's not your fault. You're being controlled by complete and utter muppets on the board and the owners of this football club. You're not the one responsible. They are the ones that are paying the price, and the results are happening on the pitch. And then it's affecting morale on and off the pitch in training and performances on the Old Trafford turf. And I think, if you can beat Brentford and Everton at home, there was no excuses not to win that game yesterday. There was no excuse for United not to win that game comfortably. Throwing a 2-0 lead away is something you simply do not do. You do not, even I don't do that on FIFA. I actually step up to the plate. I step up to the mark. I keep clean sheets, and I actually get results of Man United that I need to get. And at Manchester United, there seems to be no confidence of keeping a clean sheet. David De Gea, I'm starting to question, did this guy even have a future at Man United? He makes one crucial save and everyone's then getting their dicks out about it. And it's like, oh my God, it's like he made a world-class save to deny Sevilla a goal back. And it's like he made a simple save that it was simple to save. And you're getting your absolute joy out of making an easy save that De Gea should be saving anyway. And it's completely inadequate that his distribution as well is now starting to be questioned. That goalkeeper is suffering on confidence because he's not being given the contract terms he thinks he's deserved. And it showed yesterday. It showed against Everton. It showed against Brentford. David De Gea's distribution now seems to be getting a lot worse. Man United do need a brand new goalkeeper, but it's just not a goalkeeper. We need at least 2 new midfielders. We need 2 strikers. We need 2 centre-backs. We need a backup goalkeeper. And we also need, another right winger. We need another left winger. There's too many cracks in that team to fix. And I think Ten Hag's going to end up facing the consequences, because if the Glazers aren't gone, and I called out the Man United fans on Twitter yesterday, and I had the right to do so, I don't think this fan base is doing nowhere near enough to get these owners out of this football club. Not enough pressure is being put on the Glazers. Not enough protests are being done at home and away games. No one is doing enough. I am behind every Glazer out movement possible. I want these owners out. I want these corrupt people out of this football club. I want new owners. I want a new board. I want Man United to win on the pitch. I want the state-of-the-art stadium. But the problem is you've got too many fans who want the Glazers out, still buy the season tickets, still buy the shirts, still buy the merchandise. And that basically confirms to me they are all Glazer-in fanboys. You want the Glazers to stay. You don't think they're doing a bad job, but you still put money into the club, which goes directly out of the club, straight into the Glazers' back pockets. And half this fan base and supporters are to blame for this mess, because if you did enough protests, the owners would have been gone by now. The Glazers would not be in charge of Manchester United. And I think we need to start doing more protests at home and away games. We need to be storming into Old Trafford. We need to get inside Old Trafford again. We need to get games postponed. We need to get games called off. We need to get games abandoned. We need to start giving our message that we are not happy. We are angry. We want the Glazers on. We want them to sell United and fuck off home. That has to be the clear message in the next 2 weeks, because the results on the pitch, if they don't start improving, it will only give the Glazers momentum to stay. And I think if United don't win at the weekend, the Glazers are going to sat there behind their TVs laughing at us, because they think, bloody hell, thank God we're selling this football club. But they're the ones, they're the snakes, they're the mercenaries that have dragged this club into complete abyss. And the situation will only get worse if the Glazers stay in the summer. And this fan base, like I said, I called out yesterday on Twitter. I have Twitter, I have TikTok, and go and follow me on both those socials. This fan base, these Manchester United supporters, some they think they're Man United supporters, but they're not. They're just in it for the money. And basically, they give back to the Glazers. And this is why the Glazers have got full power and full control over the sale of the football club. And this is why they're wanting more money than what it's worth. And I think also fans have and supporters have no right going buying the shirts. They have no right going to buy the kits. They have no right going to buy the merchandise, because if you're buying the shirts and you're buying the merchandise, that basically makes you a Glazer-in fanboy. It makes you a corrupt Man United fan. It basically means you're a massively two-faced and basically you're giving the money into the Glazers' back pocket, and you think you're the ones that want these owners out, and you're still becoming two-faced because you still go and spend money on the kits. And I think if I was gifted Man United shirts for birthday or Christmas, I'd be asking for where's the receipt, because I don't want to put any money into this football club. It's not deserved. It's not justified. This football club does not deserve having money being put into it by corrupt owners that don't give one fuck about this football club. And this is why Manchester United are in the mess they are in. It's affecting results on the pitch. It's affecting the morale behind the scenes. And you can see with Erik ten Hag, this is not the job I think he wanted to take. And I think, the results have shown it in the last few games. We scraped by Brentford. We scraped by Everton. And yesterday, Man United couldn't hold on to a 2-0 comfortable lead, and they couldn't find a killer third or fourth goal to do the job in the end. And this is why we are sat here trying to do a preview for the game. And unfortunately, the preview is going to be a negative one, because unfortunately, we've got no squad. There is no squad depth, and the attacking quality and the better players we need available are unavailable yet again to injuries that these bottle jobs keep picking up. The injuries to Varane are mounting up, and I did say this about Rafael Varane. He ain't going to be available at the weekend, so you're then stuck with Harry Maguire and bloody Victor Lindelof again. You're basically stuck with a Magaluf. You're basically stuck with a country that you could travel to on a plane. And unfortunately, Maguire and Lindelof will cost Man United long term. Varane should have never been brought. World Cup's winning centre-back, my ass. World-class winning centre-back, my ass as well. He keeps on picking up injuries. Real Madrid knew exactly what they were doing. They knew Varane was picking up injuries left, right and centre. They knew they were going to sell him, and they knew as soon as Man United come in, Real Madrid did not hesitate to sell him, and look what's happened. That purchase of Varane has been a complete and utter nightmare. It's been a travesty. We should have went nowhere near injury-prone centre-back. And I think, the news what's come out, Lisandro Martinez, he has snapped his metatarsal in his ankle. It looks like it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks out. So that's basically Lisandro Martinez's season's over. He's out for 2 months with a broken metatarsal. His fifth metatarsal to have broken in his foot, and they're deciding to either operate or let the bone heal on its own. So Lisandro Martinez is definitely out as well. So actually 2 World Cup winning centre-backs out. We're stuck with who you think we stuck with, unfortunately. It looks like Luke Shaw also is going to be unavailable. So unfortunately, it's going to be the dreadful Malacia at left-back, the one we paid 15 million for, who basically, for me, in my opinion, is not worth even a fiver. Malacia has been such a dreadful side for this club. He's not added any quality at left-back. And when he can only use his left foot, it says a lot about his momentum. It says a lot about that player, that he's got no interest in improving his right foot ability, and basically thinks to yourself, do you know what? I'm going to keep cutting back inside. I'm going to keep passing the ball back to the defensive player, because that's all I've got in my left foot. I've got nothing else on my right, because my right foot is the weaker foot. I've played professional football at the highest level for my school and for my college, and I use both feet. And both feet are really, really strong because I played with both. So there's no excuses for the diabolical performances Malacia has been given lately in a United shirt. And I think if Luke Shaw's available, Luke Shaw has to come back into that team, because Malacia offers you no confidence at left back. And now you can see why Luke Shaw has been getting in that team compared to Malacia, because I think, Ten Hag has realised that some of the players he's brought in aren't good enough. And I think Malacia is at the top of that list, and we can add Jack Butland's at the top of that list. And I think, Weghorst is also at the top of that list as well, because there's no quality in either of those three. And if you're looking at the right-back situation, Wan-Bissaka, again, yesterday, dreadful. Can't get forward with the ball. Can't put even a decent pass to his teammate. Can't put a cross into the box. Keeps cutting back inside and laying it off to Anthony for him to deliver the cross. And that is meant to be the right-back that, we're putting all our faith in. And Diego Dalot has not seen any minutes now for the last 3 games against Everton, Brentford and Sevilla. He's not played 270 minutes of football due to the pure crap that Wan-Bissaka keeps giving in the Man United shirt. And those players do deserve the shit they get. They do deserve the criticism they get on social media. I'm done with Protection FC. I'm done with ego protection as well. Those players deserve the crap that they are put through. They deserve the criticism of their performance, because at the end of the day, you're professional footballers who can't perform at the highest level, and your manager is clearly fucked off with some of you with your standards that you're showing on and off the pitch. And it's not acceptable at Man United. We should be achieving a lot better than what we've got. And that's down to the squad and some of those egotistic players who think the sun shines out their fucking shitty ass. You might as well get a shovel to start digging all the crap out their ass crack. because those players are half the problem at this football club. And it's only going to get worse if things do not improve in the next few weeks. And it will. Those players need to start stepping up now because the injuries we got is a nightmare. And if it carries on, the situation will only get worse. And I think Maguire realises now he's got to step up at the weekend. Lindelof has also got to do a job for United. Diego Dalot has to come back in. Personally, I would sell Wan-Bissaka and Dalot at a heartbeat. They are not good at right back. Dalot, you don't get any confidence either. So it's a bit of a difficult situation for Ten Hag to realise that he's got two pathetic crap right backs at right back that aren't good enough to play the English game properly. And that is the big problem. We should have went nowhere near Dalot. We shouldn't have spent 50 million on Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They've both been B-Tech signings that no one would have gone with a pitchfork. And unfortunately, Man United spend money badly. They spend money on bad players we shouldn't have been given. And the recruitment at this football club is a travesty. And it's going to get worse if it not before it even gets better. So I think, that team will probably have to, somehow find some way of winning on Sunday and beat Nottingham Forest convincingly. Can we do it? I think with the quality we have, we probably can. And I think, if we're looking at that midfield three as well, I think that midfield three, what started against Sevilla yesterday, will probably play again on Sunday. You can't take Marcel Sabitzer out that team. The quality he added in that midfield yesterday is second to none. He's a massive upgrade on Christian Eriksen. And I think, Eriksen's been very unlucky with injury not to be back in that team. Obviously, he's back now. And obviously, he was back against Everton. He was also played yesterday and was delivered minutes. But I think, you can't take Marcel Sabitzer out of that team and you can't take Fernandes out of the team because they are the influential leaders in that midfield. And I think, the return of Casemiro has also helped Man United out as well in that midfield last night because I think if Casemiro, Sabitzer and Fernandes went that midfield three and it was a weaker midfield three, United wouldn't have controlled that midfield and that game would have been a completely and utterly different result. And I feel like Sevilla would have probably gone on to win and beat Man United quite convincingly. So Man United realised the midfield three, I think, has got to be kept. I think Eriksen is not going to be rushed back completely into the first team mould yet because I think Sabitzer is keeping him out of this team. Sabitzer deserves to be signed permanently in the summer. 18 million, you can't sneeze at. He's one of my favourite players. I absolutely love Marcel Sabitzer, and I cannot believe the job he has done since we signed him on loan from Bayern Munich in the January transfer window. And I think it's been an absolute excellent signing that I think everyone can rave and shout about. I think for me, I would put him in the team in the season because he's been absolutely phenomenal for the games he started for United, and he's keeping Eriksen out of the team. And it's justified that Eriksen's on the bench because Sabitzer's form is showing it on and off the pitch in the goals. Sabitzer's also scoring, is offering the quality and the missing piece. I think United was showing, I think, is Eriksen going to have a future if Sabitzer keeps on playing and getting first team football? Only time will tell with Christian Eriksen. But obviously, Christian Eriksen's obviously a massive inspiration and role model to see him. But I think, I think Ten Hag will stick with the midfield three he went with yesterday. And if the rumours are true, what I've heard this afternoon, apparently it might be Elanga or Weghorst up front with Sancho on the left and Anthony on the right of the weekend. And if we play Elanga or Weghorst up front down the middle against Nottingham Forest on Sunday, oh my God, I think then apparently the rumours were not even starting Martial. And it's like, well, we've got no goal scorer and you've basically gone back to saying Martial's not fit enough to start. The same old Anthony Martial is continuing to happen at Man United. The same old injury problems, the same old inconsistency. And apparently he's not even going to start the game on Sunday. And he's either going to be Weghorst or Elanga down the middle with Sancho on the left and Anthony on the right. And that worries the shit out of me that we're relying on the BFG's best friend, the Iron Giant, and Weghorst, who's only scored 2 goals in 14 games. And you've got a B-Tech Elanga who's basically not even good enough to play for an Everton team, apparently going to start. And I mean, he can't put the ball in the net. And he was dreadful when he was brought on yesterday. And Weghorst as well. Those two had a massive opportunity to go and bury Sevilla. And if Weghorst would have seen Elanga behind him, Elanga has an empty net. He buries that in for 3-0. But this is the problem. We've got no backup to Rashford. And we've got no backup to Martial. And if Martial ain't starting this game on Sunday, then clearly, yet again, Anthony Martial has picked up yet another injury, another problem that Ten Hag is facing. So basically, we've got 9 players out for Sunday, 10 for next week, Thursday against Sevilla, the Europa League quarter-final second leg. This situation at Man United is going to derail more than a fucking cargo train. Honestly, this situation is only going to get worse and worse for Manchester United. And we've got to try and win games with this squad we've got left. And This simply not there for Man United. It's not there for the manager. And, all the blame's being put on Eric Ten Hag. It's not his fault. I think fans need to realise that Ten Hag is the manager here. He's trying to get the best out of a crap Deadwood squad full of crap Deadwood players that he doesn't even want or not good enough. And you're pinpointing saying Ten Hag's the problem with the tactics. And it's like, what would you rather do? Get David Moyes back on the phone and bring him back as manager? It's absolutely ludicrous that we've been going in on Ten Hag this season. It's not the manager's problem. It's the players. It's the squad. Some of those players are afraid to step up. They're too pussy to fucking do it. They're too afraid to step up to the mark. And those players do not like being criticised. They don't like, they're awful, they're trash, they're woeful, they're useless. They don't like that sort of, criticism of their performance. But it's justified because if they're playing crap, you can't just sit there and hold the hand. We ain't crossing a fucking road. We're not at school still. Not at junior. We're not at kindergarten. I mean, fucking hell. I mean, those players don't step on Sunday, then the club falls apart. And if those players don't step up, we know who the biggest problems are. And the biggest problems in that team are 5 to 8 to 10 players. And I think, what do we do now? I think, Ten Hag is going to have to bear grin with what he's got, and he's going to have to try and nurse back some of these players quicker more than what he wanted to. And I think, we can't rush these players back, but some of them are going to have to be told, you're going to have to rush back. I need you back quick. And if you're going to have to play through injury, you're simply going to have to do it. I couldn't really care, if they've got a slight groin or hip problem or they're not feeling 100%. If you still give your all, that shows the momentum that some of those players actually do care about putting a Man United shirt on. They do care about playing for this football club. And that's what should be the biggest thing. It's about putting in the commitment and the desire to actually put on a Man United shirt and actually win the game. And I think, those players now have a huge opportunity to do it. They've got it in them to do it. But can you trust them to keep a clean sheet after yesterday? Probably not. Can you expect Man United to put teams away that we didn't get for yesterday? Probably not. So it's probably going to be a tale of two halves. Do we see a repeat of the second half collapse against Sevilla? Or do we go to Nottingham Forest and play well in both halves and absolutely smash them up and destroy them? Only time will tell what type of morale and competence and, ability that team comes out of on Sunday. They're going to have to be up for it, because I think if some of those players ain't up for it, Ten Hag will call it out. He's not afraid to do it. And that is what I like, what he's brought in. He's brought in the no shits and no excuse and no bollocks, bullshit excuses from the team anymore. He's not going to accept excuses. He's not going to accept crap. He's not going to accept PR bull crap. Ten Hag is here to win. He's here to get Man United back to the top, and I think we've got the ability to do it. But those players, the ones who are going to have to be brought in, are going to have to show on Sunday, you can do a job while we've got half these players out injured. Can they do it? It'll be interesting to see if they can, because if we start seeing performance, and maybe some of them have got a future, but I think it's going to be a difficult game. Nottingham Forest are going to be up for this. They know they need the 3 points. They need to survive in the Premier League. They can't afford to go straight back down to the Sky Bet Championship. And I think, it's going to be a tough game for United. Both teams are going to be up for this. Both teams need the win, but I think Man United need to win more, because these players now need to realise that this is a make or break now. This season could come crashing back down to earth on us very, very quickly. The results could keep going pear-shaped, but in my opinion, I think this season is already over. I think the season's over now, because we haven't got Varane, we ain't got Martinez, we've got no Rashford, no McTominay, no Luke Shaw, no Tom Heaton, no Donny van der Beek, no Garnacho. And I think if we don't get any of them back quick, then this season we're left with the players we've got available. This season will come crashing down to earth very quickly, and the results will derail. We'll miss out on top four. We won't be back in the Champions League next season. And I think, if those players don't step up and they haven't got the hunger or fight, Ten Hag will call it out, and you won't hopefully see some of those Man United shirts in players ever again. So let's see what happens. I'm going to go for a Man United win. I'm confident we've got the squad and the goals to be able to put Nottingham Forest away. Scoreline prediction, I'm going to go for 3-0 United. I think United have got the team and ability to be able to put the ball in the back of the net more. They'll take the game to Nottingham Forest. We have to start with the pressure on Nottingham Forest. We have to pressure them into conceding goals. We have to start on the front foot. We have to bury and get that first half done. If we can head into the second half 2 or 3-0 up, the game is won. And hopefully United come out on top and deliver a Premier League win this weekend. Hopefully top 4 in Champions League football will be an inch closer to qualification. And hopefully this season is going to end on a massive, massive high for Manchester United Football Club. But with the injuries we've got, I'm not confident, but I've got to go for United win because I've got to be optimistic that we can still deliver results without half these injured players in the team. So let's see what happens, eh? So I hope you enjoyed the preview. To hit the like button, the share button, please subscribe to United Red Devils 20 on YouTube if you're new to the channel community. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, remember to put the notification bell on as well. So you've dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, F1 23, FIFA 23 Career Mode, Football Manager, the new Disney racing game. We're also going to be doing EA Sports FC. And we've got much more brand new content planned, more previews, more match reactions. You're all legends. You're all legendary. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. Go and check out my other socials. I'm on Twitter. I am also on TikTok. So go and give me a follow and both of them, which will then lead you to both those channels. Will lead you to this channel. Both links are in there for this YouTube channel for United Red Devils 20. Please then give me a subscribe notification on here. Become part of the channel's future. Become a manager, moderator of content. Become part of Merchandise, brand new gaming, live streams, and much more brand new stuff. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe and be nice and be kind to each other. Thanks for watching.